And welcome back to Survivor Hot Takes. It is Coach Drew and Emily talking about episode 3 of Survivor 43. I keep typing in 42 when I do the description. I think because
Just
of
have it.
42 and 42, I'm so used to writing the number 42 down.
Yeah.
I really like this episode. It because it was only 43 minutes this time. I felt like it flowed a lot smoother. Um, I don't, and we talked about this beforehand. I don't think that it was predictable. I think that it could have gone
Oh,
NECA
really?
or Noel's way. I didn't think it was like going to be NECA the entire time.
That
Um,
surprises me. Like,
so why do you think that?
well, I feel like they kind of built up a little more to NECA's, especially at how they featured Noelle's performance in that challenge, which by the way was like the most incredible beast woman like thing I've ever seen. Like she was just like a fish, like a water wizard. I don't know what the right word, but she was killing it, you know? And I think
She's an Olympian.
but yeah, but like it was she crushed it. And I think that like they built up in 2 different episodes that NECA is just like her and Puzzles just don't vibe, you know? So I think that like it would have made the most sense to really get rid of NECA like super early, just because like she wasn't someone who like contributed to the longevity of the tribe itself, you know. That's how I feel.
I get that, but I think the reason it wasn't obvious to me is because we sat here last week and said that trio of Jesse, NECA, and Cody. Cody.
Yeah.
Um,
Don't ever forget his name. He's a king.
they were doing really well with each other. So to see the very next week that just collapsed and everyone votes for NECA, that's where it kind of got me, because it's like, all right, are these two going to really stick with this, or are they really going to stick with this whole? We got to keep the tribe strong because we don't want to lose again.
Yeah.
Inevitably they did go with that. And so, do you think they made the right decision in that aspect?
I think that they definitely made the right decision. I think that it's tricky. I think that that it's giving more space, especially because they aren't close to a merge, and we don't think they're going to have a swap. I think it gives them like that space and that capacity to be able to become more of a strong four. Like we saw that with the Orange Tribe, like Marianne's tribe last season. That like they were able to maintain a core four. After they got rid of a few of the weaker links.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it's definitely possible, but I think that if they lost Noelle and kept NECA, they would have had to continue to keep going to tribal. You know what I mean? So
they're only final, what, 15 or 14 right now?
I think so. Yeah, like there's only there's only three episodes. So yeah, they only lost 3, so they still 15.
Yeah.
Right?
So they're not
Math.
merging for a bit. Yeah, they're not merging for a bit.
Right.
So yeah, you can't afford to lose anymore. And I still think that Noelle has a uphill battle, because I do think that the two people at the top are still Jesse and Cody.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like they probably won't lose, at least this round. They could potentially lose before the merge happens, but
Yeah.
I think everything is just building towards, because that's the other story, the other big storyline that's been going on since the first episode is Gabler and his idol. And that's been the storyline for that tribe for 2 episodes now. And we don't start off with it. The second segment of this episode is dedicated to Ellie trying to, mess with Gabler a little bit, and Gabler, saying, once he's told what's going on, playing into it, which I did really appreciate. So what do you think of the whole Gabler Ellie dynamic right now?
Okay, it's very tricky because if I didn't see the context where Sammy completely sold out Janine for looking in his bag and like trying to like throw Ellie and Janine under the bus, I would say that I'm 98% confident that Ellie could convince him to give him her idol, and then they could vote him out with it. But because I think that Sammy's doing a really good job at like kind of being the secret like man behind the curtain, if you will, like trying to like he puts some subtle jabs and gives them a few different targets, like worst case scenario if they have something else. But I don't know. I think that Sammy's doing a good job at maintaining the core male 3 alliance. If I were to guess in that tribe, who would be the next person out, I would say Janine. Just because I feel like Ellie's still an asset challenge wise, and Ellie like is already kind of a target in itself for being such a big social threat.
Yeah, I think that she's being every week we're getting more and more of like she's kind of a shit stirrer, and she even outright said either she called herself evil or said something that she did was evil this week, which goes back to last week where I was like, I feel like they're building her as the villain of the season, and I feel like this is continuing. We don't get much Ellie content this episode, but what we do get, I feel like when that tribe inevitably goes back to tribal, because I don't think they're going to escape without going.
I don't think so either.
That's probably going to be episode of the season pre-merge, because it's just building up to something. And I hope that when that episode does happen, that it's not, they don't show us, they don't make it obvious who's going home.
Right. I think that like the interesting thing with Yellow is like, I just feel like there's so many targets on so many different people for so many reasons. Like that also kind of gives me the same thing with Orange, Blue, we already kind of know the big targets there are like Gio and Ryan. Like I feel like that it's a toss up, but like, I feel like more so with Yellow, like everyone has a reason to have someone voted out, and like, that's not something that you see very often in a tribe. Like everyone having not an equal target, but a target that could not be missed, So, and I feel like have you seen like any of the teasers yet? Like for what this challenge is going to look like?
I tried to stay away from them.
Oh, you don't want me to tell you then?
No, go ahead. The episode comes out tonight.
Okay, I'll tell you. I haven't seen much. Ryan posted something and he said like, oh, like he posted the picture and it looks like there's some sort of like beanbag, like trying to hit like a bunch of blocks from like a high distance. I don't know if that's a reward or if that's like the actual like challenge, but I'm trying to think like who out of every tribe would be the worst at it. I feel like Owen could maybe like carry it, for that tribe. For Yellow, I don't know how Blue would do though. Like I don't know. I'm trying to think of like out of all of those tribes who would do the worst.
Coco's not going to lose.
I don't think so either.
I don't see Coco. They might lose the one challenge like right before the merge, but I don't see Coco losing. Period.
United front.
I mean, from what we were being shown, which is not much, they seem relatively united. Yes, and I do think that it would be interesting, and I feel like that's what's going to trigger us figuring out that Coco's going to tribal. Is if they start getting a lot of content in tonight's episode, is going, oh shit, they're going.
Right. Ryan said that this was an episode that couldn't be missed. Like I feel a few people from Survivor have really built up on this episode. So I wonder like if it's just because they're bringing back like the Pearl Islands, like the Pearl Islands-esque of like stealing something from a different tribe, which is, I'm so excited about. But I don't know. I'm hyped.
Just a tad. Also, the other idol got found.
You know who wins the MVP award today? Carla. We talked about it today. Don't you agree?
Sure. But why?
Carla was so good. I think that like she was really good at being methodical, how she was speaking about how she was able to get the advantage and how she really bartered. Like you could see at first she was really uneasy asking for James for all of his beads, and then whenever she started kind of explaining how she was able to barter those sorts of things and like really negotiate how she would get those beads, like she has a really strong social understanding. And I think that she still maintained her composure enough to stay under the radar, Yeah. I think that her social awareness is just so good and I'm obsessed with her. Like I'm obsessed. She's the MVP in my heart.
Do you think that she was egged on to go back and get it? Or do you think she actually made that decision on her own?
I feel like she probably made the decision on her own. She didn't take the first hit, whenever they took her over to, do they call it Shipwheel Island? What do they call it now? Island of Chance.
Yeah.
I don't know. Someone in the comments tell us because I can never keep up with the names. But like she didn't take it the first time. She chose not to be impulsive that time, and she really thought it through. I'm glad that she grabbed the Beware advantage this time.
Yeah, and I'm glad that it was. I guess I'm glad that it was the same type advantage, and it's at least from what
Risky Rock. Do they really call it that, Jay? Wait, sorry, continue.
Well, at least from what we're seeing, it looked like she did it relatively quickly.
Yeah,
like
right.
She knocked it. From what we're showing, it looked like she knocked it out pretty fast, and she was really good at lying about it. Having backup plans, especially when it got down to the nitty gritty, she had to do Plan B and C for whoever the last person was to get it. So now that now we have two idols found, right?
Yes, two.
Okay, no, oh, three, no, three.
Who was the third?
Uh,
Oh, the Gabler one. Right, right.
The Gable.
And hey, you were wrong. I wanna roast you publicly. You thought that every single tribe would have a different way for the Beware advantage, and you were wrong. It was all about the beads. So suck it. Continue.
Okay. Fine, whatever.
Let the people know Andrew was wrong.
That's not a rare thing. Yeah, I'm excited to see if they change that up when merge time happens. Because I'm also interested to see what happens if everyone that has gotten the bead idol get to the merge, and then all of a sudden people are like, oh yeah, it was weird, they asked me for my beads, and then people start to collab and figure out what's been really going on.
Right.
I'm already excited for that because it has to happen, right? Someone's gonna well, we already know that Jesse knows because Cody told him.
So Cody would have to either whack him out or they'd have to whack Cody out before he was able to use it.
Yeah, or yeah, and then I think that's going to add to that. I think that's going to be a lot of fun when it eventually.
I know. I'm so excited.
Anything else going down in this? Oh yes, the challenge.
Yes.
So, I obviously with Noelle being an Olympic athlete, I did expect her to do well, but she actually killed it. I would say one of the MVPs of the entire challenge.
Freaking vision. That was the most, and honestly, they edited it so well to really be able to track her progress throughout the entire challenge. I've never seen someone go into that much of a beast mode before. Especially on land, on water, amazing. Blew my mind.
Yeah, and then once again, and everyone knows my qualms with Nneka. Nneka blows the challenge again, and it's very fun how that scene is edited.
She wasn't even watching her puzzle after a while. Right. She was looking at the what are you doing? And
especially when Jeff is like, there are three pieces left. There's two pieces left, and Nneka's still looking over like this. I'm like, you're not.
She gave up. Yeah, she gave up.
So they lose the challenge. I know you said that it was obvious that she was going home. But there was never any type of thought in your head that maybe this is just a decoy, maybe this is just a red herring.
I think that the only decoy in my head, I knew for a fact at that point that Noelle was safe, because Noelle got that extra advantage, and in my mind I was like, is she going to use this spotlight that she has and partner up with Dwight to knock out a big dog like Jesse, So I thought that Noelle would be safe, but maybe Jesse would be a target, because I feel like Jesse just he's just the one who just kind of tends to be the center of the entire group, But yeah. I feel like for her it may have been just a little too early.
And I don't often say this on here because I don't like Survivor Twitter or just Survivor Reddit or any of that.
How dare you not like Survivor Twitter? It's the best place on earth. It's Disneyland.
I thought that I was the only one that did the Sierra Easton voting out her mom connection when I watched the episode, and then I went online and realized that everyone was making that connection.
Yes.
That's why the name of the episode is he voted out his mom, because at one point, on a serious note, Jesse is talking about how he lost his mom and how Nneka is like his mother figure on the island, and if he has to vote her out, it'd be like voting out his mom. And in that moment, I don't know why, but it triggered that in a lot of people's brains of, oh, he's going to vote out his mom. So going into the tribal, Noelle gets her advantage. Did you think there was a possibility of her using it, or?
I thought that would be her perfect chance to use it. She's very clearly on the bottom. I think that it would have been able to get to solidify her relationship with Dwight and in turn make her a part of the majority, especially if she whacked out. I mean, I feel like Cody would have understood. I don't think that Cody and Jesse are as tight, and at this point, I don't know who Jesse's closest ally is, because it's definitely not. It's who?
It has to be Cody, right?
They aren't that close though. Do you think? I think that he appreciates him from afar, but I feel like now they're the only ones who have each other because they've already broken Dwight's trust. So now it's 2 versus 2. So in my mind, if Orange goes to tribal, that would be again her absolute perfect chance to be able to maintain the majority,
And it's funny because we, the challenge once again, and this is the second time they've done this so far this season, where the challenge happens pretty early in the episode,
Right.
and then we have a lot of time, to spend with other folks. I've watched this episode twice, and strategizing wise with this tribe, it didn't seem like we were getting a lot of content. Like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like, there's never a moment where um people are like seriously between Noel and NECA. Like, for me, going into the tribal, it was going to be between the two of them, but I never really saw anyone. And like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, but I never really saw anyone like actively contemplating it besides Jesse. Um,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I
and
think Cody was like already, balls to the walls, ready to get rid of NECA. I think that like that was a hard thing, I think, for him at first, but he just kind of recognized and saw like the writing on the wall. She had to go, she was the weakest link, and she wasn't like, if they kept her and they lost Noel, like they would have been right back there the very next day,
yeah,
Mhm.
I'm not really about this whole tribe strength thing, but like at a certain point,
It's about
yeah,
longevity,
you
it
kind of have
is.
to do it, especially if it's the same person blowing the challenges for you. You kind of have to
100%.
say, hey, I'm also here to win $1 million. This person, is screwing up my chances of potentially getting to the end. They need to go.
Yeah.
Um, so now we're at this 15 point, and I would say there's probably about 2 to 3 episodes before we merge,
Wow,
and
already? That's crazy.
there's still only one tribe that has it. Oh, well, maybe we don't know. It could be a little bit more than that. There's still one tribe that hasn't gone to tribal. Don't think there's going to be any swaps. What types of twists do you think could be thrown, at least with this episode tonight? Because
Well,
it's already being
I
teased at the Pearl Islands twist, like you said. But what else?
Yeah, well, I definitely want to agree with Jay. I want to point out something that Jay said in the chat too, that there's going to be a double tribal like happening soon. It has to happen soon. Like hasn't happened yet. It has to happen at a point before they get to the merge, because otherwise it's going to completely mess up the group dynamics. Like Blue is going to stay in that majority, and I think they're pretty close knit enough where they would be able to stay that way, and it would just be such a boring show. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think that there's going to be a lot of animosity built, especially like because of that, like the thievery that's going to be going on, which is going to help to create. I'm so hyped about it. It's going to be the best. I bought Oreos for this specific occasion. I'm so excited. We'll be like popping them. But like I think that not only like the genius behind the thievery, right, is that like now they have like the ship wheel island or whatever the heck we want to call it, right? And like on top of, and so like that's built like really good relationships. Now we have like a lot of animosity from other relationships. So there's going to be targets as well as bonds. I think that's going to make for such a good merge. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm already excited I mean, everyone's always excited for the merge, but I think that with the dynamics that we are already getting, with the storylines that we're already getting, like I didn't even really touch on Ellie, Gabler, Owen, and whoever else was sitting by the fire, and Ellie's like trying to get out of Gabler everything, and then Gabler lies to her, and she thinks that he's telling the truth. Like that's going to be so much fun with it. Inevitably, blows up.
Absolutely.
And I'm hoping. I mean, obviously, it's probably going to happen pre-merge, but could you imagine if this tribe just doesn't have to go back to tribal, and then they all make it to merge? Because then that's going to be like they're going to be the center of all the mess.
And I'm how many
and Tori-esque.
Yeah, like how many between yellow and orange? Like, but like if you Coco, is it Coco and Vessi? Between not Coco and Vessi. Vessi and what was the other name of the tribe? Why can't I remember that?
Coco, Vessi, and the third one.
Ika. I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So Ika and Vessi, I think that like right now, like if they were at the exact point they would be if they combined together to go after Coco, like that would be the only way that they'd be able to break up that really solid group of 6. But like it's not gonna happen. Baka? Jay, I'm sorry.
And we're also jumping ahead like 3-4 episodes. Yeah. I kind of gave up on tribe names.
That's why I just come up with colors. I can't do it anymore.
After 40, because at this point they do all kind of sound the same, no different language. But it is true. Who's going home tonight from each tribe?
Janine is gonna go home for yellow.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Janine's gonna go home for yellow. Gio would go home for blue, and for orange, I would say like it's kind of a toss up, but I would still say that like Cody would still be the first target, even with the challenge.
You think Cody would still be the target? Like, Cody's the target. Do you feel like it would
Cody
be
feels safe, and I feel like if Noelle used her,
Jesse that would like lead the charge because Jesse knows that he has or the idol, or do you think that something else might happen?
I think that Noelle would use her advantage to blindside him. That's what I think, to keep herself in the running. Either that or Dwight. I feel like Dwight also might be a really big target, honestly.
That's fair. All right. Well, like I said last week, we're trying to figure out an exact date that we can do this every
We've been struggling, you guys. It's been really tough between all. We have like 6 jobs between the two of us.
We have 6 jobs, I believe, between the two of us, and coaching, is at night, and you have to get from morning in the morning,
teaching during the day, and then like I also do tutoring at night, and it's just been exhausting. It's been a lot.
But thank you all for continuing to tune in, but sticking with us while we try to figure out a schedule. It's so much easier in the spring.
It is.
Yeah, between the two of us. Yeah, between the two of us, like we don't both have 6 jobs. But yeah, between the two of us. Yep. But we will be back at some point next week, or maybe even this weekend, or maybe even tomorrow. We don't know.
You never know. It's a mystery.
So subscribe to the channel, and we will see you all on the other side.
Bye, guys.